Lift, don't label. Yeah. Lift, don't label. Hello everybody, Mr. Brown, Proclaim Ministries, helping connect faith and life. I just made a video, just today. Sometimes I used to make videos in the same day and I go change clothes all the time. And sometimes I just got in the way. It slowed down my production schedule. So today is the same day that I made the video about giving people space to grow. But I want to talk about a little bit more about this idea, giving kids space to grow. And it is lift them, don't label them. So lift kids, but don't label them. I know sometimes we got those kids and we might label them that kid, that trouble kid, that kid who's in trouble, whatever it is. You know that kid that walks in the room, everybody else walking, you're like, hey, he walks, and you're like, here we go again. Maybe you call him that difficult kid or that challenging kid, right? And here's the deal. That may be true. This kid is a challenge to you, but don't label that kid and never give that kid space to grow. Instead, focus on how can you lift this kid to where you want them to be, where you see them going. Help lift that kid, because sometimes we don't know what kids are going through. There's a reason some of these kids behave the way they do. Now, I remember years ago, I was doing a 5-day club for Child Evangelism Fellowship, and it was in a public school. And I was at the school every week and doing a Bible club. And like week 3, this one kid, he kept getting in trouble. And my pattern is this: when kids disrespect or they blurt out, I'll give them a chance, right? I move them somewhere else. Then if they keep doing it, then you got to go. If you're at a place where you're disrupting the entire class, I can't teach, they can't learn, you gotta go. But I also believe this: if I have to kick a kid out of class, which I don't like doing, I wanna talk to the kid afterwards. So I had that kid go sit in the hall with the teacher. But afterwards, I went and talked to the kid one-on-one. Because I wanna let the kid know, I don't want you leaving with a sour taste in your mouth. I don't want you leaving thinking I hate you. I want you to apologize. I wanna give you a chance to apologize for your behavior, at least to acknowledge you did something wrong, right? So this kid went on the hallway with him, and I said, hey, what'd you do wrong? He told me he did wrong. I said, do you get in trouble a lot? Do you get kicked out of a lot of stuff? And he looked down, he said, yeah, I do. I said, why? He said, I don't know. We got to talk a little bit, and we talked about sin. I actually gave the gospel to him. Can't remember if he trusted Christ as Savior at that moment, but I know this: the next week, he was my best friend. Next week, he was with me. Every time I went to set up, he was helping me set up stuff. He was telling other kids to be quiet. I had to help him chill out a little bit. I got this, right? But he was on my team. Why? I spent time with him. I didn't label him as that kid and just roll my eyes every time he come around. I wanted to get to know this kid. And because I had the discipline the way I did, this was an opportunity to get to know him more, have a real conversation with him. And through that conversation, we built a better relationship. So I didn't want to label him and leave him. I wanted to lift him to where I think he could be. And so I don't know the situation you find yourselves in with kids, but whatever you do, try to refrain from labeling kids and saying that kid is this, that kid is that, because we need to give them space to grow. As I talked about in the last video, give them space to grow, to lift them to where they need to be, where we want them to be, and where they can be, and ultimately where God wants them to be. Think about this: our whole journey in this walk with God, it starts with salvation, but it continues with sanctification. That God is growing us, making us who He wants us to be. And God doesn't give up on us. He doesn't label us. Matter of fact, it's so interesting, in the book of Corinthians, when Paul wrote the Corinthian church, they were committing all kinds of sins. They were not living godly lives. But when Paul wrote to them, he didn't say, hey, sinners, stop sinning. He said, no, saints at Corinth, because of who you are, live this way. Because of what Christ has done for you, you should live this way, right? And I think that's the same thing we do with kids. We need to see them as God sees them, as God wants to see them, as growing in their faith. If they haven't trusted Christ yet, I think God wants to save them and help them grow in their faith. So let's try to lift kids and not label them, and give them space to grow. I'm Mr. Brown, Proclaim Ministries, helping you connect faith and life. Thanks for watching. Hey, I would love to hear your comments. And also, for more information, more teaching like this, visit our website, proclaimministry.com, and download our app where we get all kinds of information for kids ministry, for kids themselves, kids leaders, and for parents of kids. Thank you so much for joining us. Peace.